NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. This week on the Roundtable, we are going to be discussing something that affects us all, the food that we eat, and also the various stories surrounding the food that we eat. Every innocuous item has a myth for or against it, whether it's the yellow of an egg, whether it's your cup of coffee or glass of milk, and also the amount of meals you should have. Should we have lots of meals a day, or is fasting better? So joining me to debunk some of these myths is a panel of experts. I have Dr. Ritika Samadar. She is the Chief Dietitian and a Regional Head at Max Hospital. We have Dr. Grees Vaishnav. He's Director at the Noida Medical Center Hospital and also a consultant on internal medicine. I have Dr. Rupali Datta. She's a consultant nutritionist. And we have Mr. Sunil Bakshi. He's the advisor at Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. So welcome all of you. And Dr. Vaishnav, I'll begin with you. A lot of you heard what I said. There's so many myths surrounding various foods that we eat. So can we first get to the first point is how much should we eat? Is fasting good or bad? Should we have many small meals a day? What do you advise?
See, if you are a normal person, if you are not suffering from any disease, then best, and you want to maintain a good ideal weight, then the best thing is small frequent meals. Okay. And the timings of the meals are very important. Like you have to have fixed timing for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Normally, what we advise that between 8 and 9 you should have your breakfast, 8 and 9 a.m. 1 to 2 p.m. you should have your lunch, and between 7 and 8 you should have your dinner. And then you go off to sleep after 2 to 3 hours after that. So your digestion is better. If you are eating small frequent meals, you don't form acid. The basic problem in our country is gas. Every third person you ask, "Mujhe gas ho gayi." This gas is nothing. It's a misnomer. It is actually gastritis, which is because of the increased formation of acid. And acid formation happens when you are empty stomach for hours together. You don't have time even to drink water. So best thing is that small frequent meals take proper, at least 15 to 16 glasses of water, not 10 to 12, 15 to 16 glasses of water.
So that counters the acidity.
Counters the acidity. And in between meals you can have your fruits, sometimes fresh fruit juices.
But then how does that compare with fasting? Because we are a country that believes in fasting also. So that means we shouldn't fast.
No, fasting doesn't mean that you keep yourself empty stomach. Okay. You can have fruits, you can have fruit juices, you can have dry fruits. And I have not seen anybody losing weight when they are fasting during Ramadan and during Navratri. Actually, they gain weight.
Why is that?
Because they eat heavy food in the evening.
To make up for that, okay.
Whole day they don't eat fruits and dry fruits and sweets, and in the evening they will have puri, halwa and all those things. They are, especially my diabetic patients, they have high blood sugar when they come back after the Navratras or Ramadan.
Well, there it goes. But Rupali, having said that, there is one of these diets that is really doing the rage these days is this intermittent fasting. That is, to the uninitiated, you don't eat, say, for 16 hours or 12 hours, and you can have all your meals in the rest of the 8 hours. And a lot of people say they're losing weight with this.
I'm sure they are, because then you're eating a controlled amount. And like Dr. Girish just said, that, you eat at a certain time. So if you're doing this 8 hours, which means, you can cover your 3 planned meals, you have an early dinner because it's usually the first half that you will choose. So you're having an early dinner. The idea there is also, which is what people don't understand, is that when you have this 8-16, as they call it, the 8 hours doesn't mean that you eat rubbish. You still have to have nutrient-rich food. So your food still has to be fresh food it's a nice plate with vegetables, with your proteins, with healthy oils. So all those things are still attached to it. So here, because it's a diet, it's something you want to follow, so you train yourself to do that. You get some discipline into your life, so you're not eating beyond a certain time. So actually, there is no harm in that. But if you take those 8 hours to be a free-for-all and eat whatever you want and as much as you want, then really you're losing, absolutely. All the benefits are lost then.
So, Mr. Bakshi, the FSSAI has also started this Eat Right program. So, what exactly is that? Is it something what we are all talking about?
Yeah, basically, if you see the mandate that has been given to the Food Safety Authority is that something we do activities which ensure availability of safe and wholesome food in the country. So safety was something which was very well recognized right from the beginning itself. But wholesomeness, which is also related to nutrition, that is what is additionally given to Food Safety Authority as a mandate. So we have been taking several initiatives in this aspect, making food safe. So in addition to that, as I said, that we have the mandate of ensuring wholesomeness or nutrition in food also. So various activities were initiated by Food Safety Authority from time to time. Now all these activities have been put together in the single basket of Eat Right movement, Eat Right India. So it is basically on 3 pillars, which is have safe food, have healthy food, and then have fortified food. So through this Eat Right movement, Eat Right India movement, we are trying to educate masses, the stakeholders, that this is what is supposed to be done so that good food is available and people have develop a habit of taking healthy food. So these are the
concepts. Ritika, your take on the concept of fasting. Is it good? Is it bad? Or is it...
So, every year this new types of diets come out. So this year, of course, was the year where there are lots of diets which had come up. And one of this diet was the intermittent fasting. There were a lot of research which was backing it and all. We had papers coming out and saying they're very good for diabetes control and all. But first and foremost, as Rupali also said, first is, of course, adherence. Whenever you're following any kind of diet, you would find results for sure. Obviously, because it's a structured one, you are under the supervision of somebody. But again, first, it is not practical. So we've had a lot of patients, in fact, diabetic patients who underwent this intermittent fasting diet, and they did show good results in diabetes controls, etc. But within a month or so, they were just back to normal. So we really need to look into something which is more practical, which is, of course, a lifestyle modification rather than just doing diets for a month, 2 months, because then you are just back to from where you started, in fact, worse from where you started. And that is where we, I think probably as Indians, we are all getting confused because there's so many diets on the nets, on the Googles, and everybody keeps on discussing about it. And especially for us who are working in the hospitals, we have a tough time because, they come back with the various informations which they have on the nets. And then it is very difficult for us, to make them understand that, this is something which is not practical. And obviously it is very short-lived. So that's the reason I think the concept of fasting or intermittent fasting, as we call it, is not a long-term remedy for a healthy living.
In that sense, actually, none of the fad diets are. Very recently, the US state did this whole, they compared all the diets that they talked about. So Mediterranean was right on top, then was your DASH diet. Mind diet, for the reason it was made, was considered good. Flexitarian diet, they're very excited about. Now, Flexitarian diet, actually, if you look at this, it makes a lot of sense in the Western diet, which is meat-laden. Their dinner is steak. Our dinner is pulka, dal, sabzi, dahi. So we are already there. We are doing our vegetables. The traditional diet is vegetable and dal and dahi. So we are already there. But for them, it is showing a lot of good results because they are getting onto a healthier diet. Yes. When you translate it to the Indian population, we are already doing it. So we just need to do it, like he said, with a little more discipline. We actually need to learn our portion controls also.
That is also very important.
That's very important.
But doctor, also portion control is one. The other is, from the conversation I gather, a lot of the foods which we use, our forefathers used to eat, parents, mothers and fathers ate. Now the diet say ye theek nahi hai, wo theek nahi hai. Now I see we've come a full circle and now we are saying, like for instance, yellow of an egg is not so bad. Milk, a lot of people have stopped drinking milk. What would be your take on milk, on the yellow of the egg? On ghee, a lot of people again are saying, have that ghee, don't restrict it. But have it in limited quantities.
My favorite is desi gai ka desi ghee.
Achha.
Best thing, I am telling you. The problem is our forefathers, our fathers, they usually regularly used to take a katori full of gai ka ghee.
Wow, are you recommending that?
No, I'm just telling you this. And the only thing was that they were disciplined. He lived up to 92 and only went to the hospital for once eye cataract surgery twice and once for prostate. Nothing else. My recommendation is that we follow the Western medicine. We follow their diet. Our culture is totally different. And now they are saying that Indian mustard oil is the best mustard oil because it is pungent. So when the food is pungent, then they say that it has more antioxidant properties. What we recommend now, bhai, aap गाय का घी पूरा कटोरा भर के मत पीजिए ना. You follow the dietary regimen which medical nutrition therapy is a huge subject now. And they are following all, Dr. Ritika, Dr. Rupali, they are recommending, bhai tum itna ghee lo. You are supposed to take 4 to 5 teaspoons of cooking media, which can have 1 teaspoon of ghee, 1 teaspoon of mustard oil, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of refined oil. The refined oil culture is going down. You see, last 20 years back, wherever you used to go, we use refined oil. We don't use ghee. No. Now they're coming back. And the number of diseases which increase after the introduction of refined oil is huge. And there is Professor Raheja in Pune, who took out the whole literature on this, took out the whole data in this, that after the introduction of refined oils, diseases have gone up. You see the number of diabetic patients have increased, hypertension, dyslipidemia, in younger generation also. So what I recommend that ghee, mustard oil, olive oil and refined oil, we should use in combination and in moderation. It should not be just go out and...
But it's not a bad word anymore.
No.
Okay, so you were saying?
Yeah, in fact, you raised the issue of milk.
Yeah, that's the other.
See, the whole controversy about fat which is obtained from milk, it was related to presence of cholesterol, because some research had shown that it is linked to some heart disease and all that. But then the recent research in US, they came out with the fact that cholesterol is not a nutrient of concern.
Okay.
So the whole myth about milk fat not being good for health,
oils,
that has been a bit...
Similarly with egg yolk also, it's the same concept. 2015 we had the guidelines now saying that the dietary egg yolk, the cholesterol which you're getting from your yolk, obviously does not increase your cholesterols in the blood, and it is more of an inherent property which people have, whether they'll have high cholesterols or not. And I love the tagline which FSSAI has come out with, "Aaj se thoda kam." That's the best way to communicate to the community as a whole.
So, Rupali, is high cholesterol a cause for worry anymore? Because again, that study, people are saying that it's not.
No, we're not going to ignore it. If you have a consistently high cholesterol, and then, when you go to a doctor, he is going to not just see your cholesterol. It's going to be your cholesterol, it's going to be your LDL, HDL, triglycerides. The other, he's going to clinically see. See, that's the other thing. They don't understand that when you go to a clinician, he doesn't see only one thing. He is going to see the entire package. Typically, you go to a person and say, even if somebody comes to me, my cholesterol is high, I'd say wait for another 2 reports, which is at a gap of 3 months. If it's consistently been high, or if you have some, you're a hypertensive, or you're a pre-diabetic, or you're obese, then you start getting in the intervention. So just one high cholesterol is not really the thing. People living in colder places, now typically the Kashmiri community has a very, very high cholesterol because it happens. Even Eskimos have, their normal levels are very high, right? But they had no problem, no heart problems. The moment they have migrated from Kashmir to Delhi, they have all landed up with diabetes, with cardiac problems. So, it is never one thing. It's the whole environment. Their food has gone from being the traditional food, which was, sela rice and whole wheat, to more refined flours, more sugar, oil. They could digest at that time because the weather was cold. They were walking a lot. They were doing a lot of physical work in a hilly area. You see people who live in hill stations. You can, even when you and I go, you can eat a lot and still digest it because you walk it off.
Correct, huh?
So that food, if you try eating here when you're in a sedentary lifestyle and just sitting, you're going to put on weight, you're going to ask for trouble.
But people are actually now recommending oil, saying it's good for your joints. It's,
We never said it wasn't. Oil is it's a macronutrient. There are 3 macronutrients: carbohydrate, proteins and fats. If you look at the physiology of the body, fat plays a very, very, very important role in your body. All your organs are, the shock absorbers around your organs are fat. The entire layer under your skin, which is one of the biggest immune systems of your body, is fat. Your vitamin A, D, K, E cannot be absorbed without fats. Right? So it's a very important part of it, but वही बात है कि there has to be a method to the madness.
No, now they say that if you are overweight people, they live longer. Underweight. Yeah. Underweight.
Good news for some of us.
Yes, underweight and
Not obese, overweight.
Yeah.
Underweight and obese.
They are higher.
Okay, we're going to take a break, but after a break, I'm going to come back and ask all the panelists here to give us 3 takeaways really that they would recommend for people over here to live healthy and stay happy. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to a very special roundtable where we debunk some of the food myths. Dr. Vaishnav, before the break you were talking also about timings and disciplines. So is eating, a lot of people say finish your meals by 7 or 8 rather than having longer meals. Is longer meals a big problem? Late meals is one of the biggest problems you were saying?
See, the timings are such that after 10 p.m. up to 6 a.m. we are supposed to sleep. The hormone which induces sleep, melatonin, starts secreting 9:30 onwards. And most of the people around, they eat after 10. They reach home by 9:30, then they will like to have taja khana, and then they will sleep by 11:30, 12. When the digestion will never occur properly, never. They will feel bloated, indigestion. Whenever the patient comes to me with big tummy, I ask them 2 questions. Are you alcoholic? He says no. Puri family mein kisi ne sharab nahi pi. Next question I ask him, raat ka khana kitne baje khate hain? 99% they say that मैं 10 बजे घर आता हूँ, 11 बजे तक खाना खाता हूँ, and then wife says खाते हैं और सो जाते हैं, because there is no time for digestion. So this is one thing which I want to mention, that if you have to eat after 10, then you please avoid carbohydrate and fat. Because fat and carbohydrate take a lot of time for digestion. You take proteins, you take fruits, vegetables and soups, you will feel better and you will sleep better. And you will get up in the morning fresh and
But a lot of people, they say that if they fasted or not eaten anything, this intermittent fasting, some people even do it for a whole day, 48 hours, they think our brain is sharper. We feel more alert. That's a lot of...
So I think probably for a short time.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely
For
yes,
a short
right?
time.
So if you're fasting and all, you feel much better. There's a lot of detoxification happening, and plus you've had a lot of liquids and all. But yes, but again, not for a normal healthy person who is on a day-to-day living, right? If you're working and all, and if you want to doing it quite often, it's not a good idea, right?
Another myth that I've heard is that if you eat breakfast, it actually helps increase your metabolic rate. Don't skip your breakfast.
It does.
Is that correct?
It is. It is well researched, and there is enough evidence to show that, you see, our body, we have a rhythm, we call it the circadian rhythm. So that goes along with the movement of the sun. So early in the morning as the sun is rising, our body's metabolism is also increasing. As the sun goes down, the metabolic rate also starts coming down. And then you're working through the day. So if you eat a good breakfast, how it helps control weight is 2 ways. And the most basic thing is, when you've had a good breakfast, you don't have the urge to binge. You don't have the urge to snack in between. A lot of times, like I said, our meals are not so bad, it's what we snack in between. So you start your day with a good nourishing breakfast, you stay good for a longer period of time. Typically skip your breakfast, 4 o'clock, this hunger pang that hits you, and then you eat all the rubbish that you can lay your hand on, just jo bhi mile kha lo. So eat a good breakfast. The way it helps you maintain your weight is it gives you a better satiety through the day. And that is, again, it has been well researched and well documented that it does happen.
My take on fasting is that if a person takes 2 days fast in a week and have only fruits and vegetables and fresh fruit juice, so he is better off than others. And there are studies on this. It is worrying doctors all across especially in India, is this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. What will you say to the patient who doesn't have, the whole family, they never had alcohol?
You will tell them not to have...
No carbohydrates. So I am following this for the last 1.5 years, and I have stopped their carbohydrate. Usual carbohydrates, roti, chawal or aloo. Roti means all related to wheat. You stop that. In place of, if you have to have roti, then besan ki roti, chane ki roti or besan ka chilla, moong ki dal ka chilla, ye le lijiye. And chawal means suji and maida and everything is gone. And aloo means जड़ के नीचे, जमीन के नीचे वाली सारी चीजें बंद कर दीजिए आप. Salad के रूप में you can have little bit of a carrot, radish, or onion, or, that you can use, but not as sabji. And to my surprise, that after 3 months, their fatty liver started regressing. And I allow them कि आप जो processed cheese and butter मत लीजिए, आप white butter ले लीजिए, गाय का दूध से बना हुआ.
Back to the basics.
Basics.
Yeah, which is.
And they are doing so fine because Indian diet is very low on protein, very low on protein. On carbs. In best of houses, the protein intake is
very.
Okay, we totally out of time, but last wave takeaways I want to from everybody 3 tips that you would give to our viewers on healthy eating. What are the first 3 things that come to your mind?
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, I would say that the initiative that we are having right now. So, take less sugar, salt, and fat in your day-to-day diets. So then the second thing I would like to say is that when we think of food or when we take food, look for hygiene. Third thing, do more of physical activity. That is what is
very important. Rupali, you?
So what I would tell people is eat at proper times, eat adequate proteins, and most importantly, learn to be happy. A lot of time when you become a diabetic or you've got a heart problem and you're reorganizing your lifestyle, they become so dukhi कि ये हम कुछ कर रहे हैं. That will not work. The moment you are in a happy state of mind and you're more accepting, it works wonders.
Well, that'll happen if you give us stress-free diets and don't make us totally.
It's normal khana. I'm telling you to have your rice. Chawal bhi band nahi kari. Doctor Sahab ne to chawal bhi band kar di.
I know you lost one very important point on that. What is your advice, Dr. Vaishnav?
My one-liner is quite popular now in my patients is चीनी, चिकनाई और चिंता 3 चीजें छोड़ दीजिए. चीनी means all related to sugar and चिकनाई means all fatty meal and stress free रहिए. And चैन की नींद सोइए और सुबह सुबह चलना शुरू कर दीजिए.
Sleep but don't oversleep.
You will never visit me. We will meet like this only.
Okay, that's way to happiness.
Right. So for me, of course, portion in India, of course, the basic concern is the portion control. So I think we really need to be consciously looking into portion control. Exercise is, of course, the key. And third is, of course, variety. So you have variety and variation in your diet, and that's the key to healthy living.
Well, that's it. You heard it from the experts. Go have your ghee, but don't overdo it. Go have your egg yolk. And, they say you can eat everything, but I think eat in moderation, eat in portions, and be happy while you're doing that. That's it for now. Thank you for watching this show. We'll see you again same time next week.